and welcome to Wisconsin Weather Experts. It's been a while since I've been here live.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you were on the yesterday's show talking about lightning, but
Yes.
obviously it was a pre-taped segment, so it's been a minute since we've co-anchored the show live together. Good to have you here. Thanks for coming in, filling in for Stephanie this morning. Lots to cover.
Yes.
Obviously, we got a ton of stuff that's been happening locally, and everybody's talking about the weekend, and the snow, and all that kind of stuff. And we'll get to all of that, but as we always do, let's start off with our look around the major weather news headlines of the day today. And of course, around the globe, organizations and governments are working to ramp up their aid efforts and supplies for the very hard-hit communities post-Hurricane Melissa, of course, in Jamaica. Damage estimates are at least $6 billion. That's at least $6 billion. In Haiti, there were water shortages and more than a dozen people are still missing. The powerful storm has claimed dozens of lives across the Caribbean, with officials warning numbers could rise. The U.S. State Department pledges $24 million in disaster relief funding. Portions of that money are allotted for Jamaica, Haiti, Cuba, and the Bahamas. Wow, look at that video. I mean, it's just every time I see it, and there's so much of it, you can't watch all of it, obviously, but it's just incredible to see the power that that Category 5 hurricane had to just completely wipe out entire communities.
I know.
Just flattened it. So we'll continue to follow that story, and we feel for those folks.
Yeah, definitely feel for those people. And I do feel like it's been a while since, we've actually been able to talk about a destructive hurricane. Almost a year from, really a year ago was the last really destructive hurricane. That
That's
was
true.
The first really destructive one for us this year.
Yeah,
Hopefully no more.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's been an active year. I mean, we're at 13 or whatever, which is about where the National Hurricane Center forecast the frequency to be, but we've been very lucky. They've been generally kind of out in remote areas. But moving back here to the mainland, so to speak.
Yes. So an update on repairs to the US 60 east of Phoenix area after the roadways was badly damaged by flooding during last month's storm. The highway is now fully reopened. Arizona says parts of the embankment were washed away by the flooding. $3 million were allocated for the repair work, which was completed last weekend, opening 2 lanes on the US 60.
Oh man, what a mess there as well.
Yeah.
So now we go to Florida for an update from our sister station Fox 35 on the flooding in the Orlando area. Wolf Branch Road, which is near the city, will be closed for another month after it collapsed 10 days ago due to the heavy rain they just had there. Several inches of rain fell, causing historic flooding, similar to the type of flooding that we saw here back in August.
Oh, and we continue with these roads.
Yeah.
Another road in that area will be a tough fix. Wow, look at that.
Wow, what a mess.
Yeah, I know. That road has been closed since it was damaged during Hurricane Milton over a year ago. The county just got the grants needed to buy the land around it and to pay for construction costs. But the heavy rain from 10 days ago has caused even more damage to the road. So right now, the county does not have a time frame or when it will be fixed.
I mean, it's just not even there. The entire chunk of that is just gone. And you can see it's all sand underneath. Of course, we're talking about Florida.
Yeah,
so
it's probably soft dirt that crumbles.
I can't even imagine. That didn't probably hold up well, obviously, to either Milton a year ago or the recent several inches worth of rain that they got. I'm going to take you overseas now for a weather alert in the Philippines. Multiple vehicles. Look at this. I mean, this is just eye-opening and heartbreaking at the same time. Multiple vehicles floating through the streets following a deadly typhoon there. Authorities say at least 66 people are dead and 26 others are missing. Storm set off flash flooding, as you can clearly see, causing a river and other waterways to overflow. Authorities say residents climbed up onto their roofs to try to escape the floodwaters. The military says 6 of the 66 people dead were killed in a separate incident when the Philippine Air Force helicopter crashed while attempting to deliver aid to the flood victims. What an awful story.
Yeah, that is so bad. It makes, I'm very grateful that we're here and things aren't happening, like that here. But it just makes you 10 times more grateful. But my heart goes out to all those places, especially seeing the flooding and seeing the cars. It's like these are people's belongings that they worked for.
And that, hits close to home because it was just, August, only a couple months ago, that people right here in Wisconsin were dealing with similar pictures of their homes being flooded, their businesses being flooded. So, you know, when we see that flooding now, it hits a little different than it did before that happened. Happy to say flooding is not in the regional forecast, right?
Right.
Okay, nothing's changed since wake up. Good.
Yep, nothing has changed for our area. Now, you look at this map and it looks very busy, but we're just looking at really two different areas. So you have on the northwestern corner there, the Pacific Northwest, they have an atmospheric river right now. So that's what we're looking at over in this area. And then as you take your way really across the opposite end, we're looking at the northeast where there is just a lot of rain and snow and strong wind, but you do see a lot of areas dry, including our area here in southeast Wisconsin and even too across Wisconsin. And also the south is very quiet, but let's go ahead and take a look at some of that live radar here. You do see a little bit of rain and even some snow with that atmospheric river. There's also a lot of coastal flooding in that area as well. So they're dealing with a lot of inundation as well as some strong winds just on the west side of the country. The west side of the country is really getting a lot of that active weather now. That's going to be a different case though as we go throughout the rest of the week, because we will start to have some weather to be pretty active here. We're looking at a lot of high wind watches, high wind warnings, and even some advisories. We even have some very strong winds here closer to home really across the entire state. We're pretty dry though. We don't have to worry about any of that rain in our area or across the state. As you see here, we had a cold front that passed earlier this morning and that left behind nothing but sunshine for us. So that paved the way for the sunshine. Let's go ahead and look ahead at what we can expect over really the next couple of days. So wind speeds will start to calm down a little bit more as we head towards later on tonight and overnight. And you notice here, we're really going to stay nice and clear across the state. Now, the clouds start to come back in the area by Thursday morning. So by tomorrow morning, we will have those clouds back in the area, and those clouds will kind of really move in the area and stick around throughout the area all day. Now, as we head towards the nighttime, that's when we're going to start, or the evening, I should say, that's when we're going to start tracking more of those showers and storms really across the state. So you see here for southeast Wisconsin, we'll literally get just a little bit of those showers to start off, and then we'll get a little more rain. But mainly, most of that rain is just going to be in the northern portion of the state, and it's going to make it over the lake pretty quickly. All of that will be out of the area, really across the state, out of the state, by the time we make it to Friday morning. But this is what we're looking like Friday morning. Wind speeds do pick back up. We do have some clearing in the skies, but not for long, because as we head throughout Friday evening, that's when we're really going to start watching for some snow as well as even some rain. So Friday evening for the northern portion of the state, we'll start to see some snow roughly in between 9 to 10 o'clock at night going into Saturday, and then we'll be dry again. And then Saturday night and even Sunday is when we're going to have the opportunity for rain and snow. We do change and switch gears here to temperatures now, because temperatures are going to be a big difference from what we're seeing now. Imagine 20 degrees cooler. Yeah, that's what we're going to be getting over the weekend or by the end of the weekend. But our forecasted highs across the state today, majority of our areas will get to the 50s today, 40s for some areas further north, like Rhinelander at 48 for a high, as well as Duluth, 47 in Marquette. Everybody else is going to range from lower 50s to mid 50s, and then some areas near Chicago will get to near 60. Here's a look at that national forecast with those highs today. We do have those warmer temperatures still settling in the south. We also have some of those mild temperatures really across the Midwest and even areas out west and to the northeast coast. So everybody is kind of, the temperatures are split here. So warmer temperatures for sure to the south, and then some of those fall-like temperatures are to the north. Here's a look at that high temperature trend though. You see that we're going to be trending close to normal for the next couple of days. Today, even Thursday and Friday is looking to be pretty warm, near 60. But then after that, temperatures start to fall off towards the weekend. So a very cool weekend is going to be on the way, and perhaps cold by the time we make it to Sunday and Monday in the 30s. You can only imagine what it'll be like in the morning before we warm up to the 30s. We will be in the 20s, so that's going to be kind of chilly for us. And then our outlook, though, this is just some better news. Over the next 8 to 14 days, we'll at least get to be above average again. So it doesn't look like those cooler temperatures are going to last too long.
No. it looks pretty good in the extended outlook, but yeah, we do have a bit of a chill to get through, and a reminder that we do live in Wisconsin, and it is November at the end of the day. Hey, in health and weather news combined, the wind, of course, really blowing these days, been bringing those leaves down a little faster in the past few days. It's raking time, but actually doing that raking can do a number on your back. So before you head out there, remember to use the right posture.
Oh, those beautiful fall colors. Eventually they end up down here or way up there. When it comes to raking the leaves, work smarter, not harder, meaning rake when they're dry, not wet, in the same direction as the wind or downhill. And most importantly, use proper technique.
Posture and form is very important. I think a lot of the times people go and do these actions in trying to accomplish a task without realizing how they're standing, how they're moving, how they're distributing their weight, how exactly they're carrying that weight. You know, it seems like a simple enough exercise to do, but there's a lot of different motions going into that.
Dr. Trishelle Kapoor is a pain medicine physician at Cleveland Clinic. He says stretching first can help avoid neck, back, and shoulder injuries. And once you get started, you have to focus on your form. Your feet should be firmly planted on the ground with your knees bent. Then you're making short strokes as you pull those leaves toward you. Dr. Kapoor says if you notice any pain or discomfort, take a break or stop completely.
First and foremost, rest. You can use ice or heat. And then after that, you can use over-the-counter medications as directed. Sometimes people have a tendency to overutilize it because they think, oh, it's over-the-counter, I can use as much as I want. So be careful with that.
Yeah, be careful out there for sure. And if you are going to be out there this weekend, you feel a bit of a chill, it's a good reminder that those temps are going to dip. Fox 6 is ready and willing to keep the kiddos safe and warm, one coat at a time. We just kicked off the 41st annual Fox 6 Coats for Kids Drive, and we need your help. See that QR code right there on the screen? Scan that with your smartphone or your tablet. Then you can safely donate money that will then get used to buy brand new coats for the campaign. So if you have a new coat or maybe a gently loved winter coat that you want to donate, you can do that too. Drop those off at Steinhoffels, Landmark Credit Union, or Salvation Army through December 7th. For more information about Coats for Kids, go to our website, fox6now.com. All right, it's been a busy few minutes here. We're going to take a break, catch our breath, but when we come back, we are going to look to the skies, and Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks gets behind the clouds. That's next. All right, welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts right here on, of course, the Fox Local app, your Fox Local CTV app, and YouTube. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube and click subscribe.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We have plenty more for you to enjoy. You can always submit questions whenever. But let's take a look at this. So if you were outside yesterday, you probably noticed a very interesting cloud formation. It's a pattern that tells us something about the weather coming. So our chief meteorologist, Tom Wax, has more.
Well, you know what we say, right? You can learn so much by looking up when it comes to the weather. Take a look at these clouds behind me. These are altostratus undulatus clouds, or wavy clouds, also called asperatus or asperatus clouds. Really cool looking clouds, but let's dive in to more about what this means. So this is what the clouds looked like on Tuesday afternoon in parts of the Milwaukee area. You can see the blue sky to the right, and then these altocumulus clouds building in from the left or from the southwest. Really cool looking clouds here, and typically it's a sign that a storm system is coming in. Well, check out what happened next. Those clouds continue to thicken up, and you can really see those clouds continuing to kind of get thicker and thicker. And if you look farther to the left, on the left-hand side of the screen, they really start to thicken up. So this is where they're changing from what we call altocumulus clouds, kind of those patchy or pouchy looking clouds, to more of blanket type clouds. Now take a look at this. These are called altostratus clouds, or the blanket clouds, and you can kind of see the waves here. That's the undulatus part of the clouds that I was talking about earlier. Now, why did these develop? Well, there is a storm system in the vicinity, and we had warmer air coming in from the southwest aloft, what we call warm air advection in meteorology, and that led to this cool cloud formation. Now, that's about all we're going to get from the storm system. The rain is going to stay north. We'll get some wind out of it. But again, this is all because of a weak storm system bringing warmer air aloft, causing these cool looking clouds.
Very cool. And I had a lot of folks on Facebook, social media in general, just asking about them, talking about them yesterday, because it was an interesting formation. It almost looked like a checkerboard for a while there with little boxes and things. So it's always good when you can spark conversation and get a little deeper, like Tom was there. The other thing that everybody's talking about is the beaver moon.
Yeah, the beaver moon. I mean, it was the full moon this morning, and it still will be a full moon tonight whenever. If you go outdoors and you missed it, you do have another day you can look at it there. Right. But we also have some other stuff in terms of, I guess, space here. So the planets, we do have, for the evening, Saturn south. Jupiter would be east overnight, and then of course the full beaver moon. No space station, nothing's upcoming for this week, but I remember last year when we were watching the space station and everybody came outside to watch this little dot.
Yeah, that's right. The tiniest thing, but it's just fascinating to see, as is the full beaver moon, which of course is also a supermoon because it's at its closest in its orbit to Earth. It'll only appear maybe about 14% larger, but it will be brighter, and tonight should be great viewing conditions as we should clear out.
Yes.
But you'll need at least a hoodie, probably more like a winter coat, because it is going to get chilly tonight, as you were talking about before. All right, looking ahead, though, there's a new report out now on the state of our climate. It's been released, and it kind of digs into what's happening, and not only what's happening, but why it's happening. Fox News' Chris Demio has more.
Even though cooler fall temperatures are settling in across the country, a new report from the United Nations Environment Program reveals ongoing global plans to fight average rising temperatures will barely make an impact. This as officials cite high rates of continued fossil fuel use and production.
This is why we need climate action.
According to the Emissions Gap Report, the latest plans from countries around the world would reduce global warming in the future by roughly 0.3 of a degree Celsius. But the report also says a number of President Donald Trump's policies, including environmental regulation rollbacks, withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement, and canceling funding for clean energy projects, are expected to add back 0.1 of a degree of warming. climate advocates are warning of dangerous consequences from higher temperatures.
Fires will be raging, droughts will be happening, tropical storms will be more intense and more frequent.
Every tenth of a degree counts. Ocean heat waves and the destruction of coral reefs. It matters long term when we think about sea level rise.
This all comes as officials are preparing for meetings Thursday in Brazil ahead of this year's United Nations Climate Summit, COP30, which starts November 10th. And while the White House says it's not planning on sending any high-level officials, climate advocates hope nations that do attend focus on enacting change instead of promising it.
We are on a path that nations may not be around in the future. So, of course, vulnerable nations are calling for more ambition.
Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Interesting story. We were just talking earlier about the Edmund Fitzgerald, which is coming up, right?
Yes, I'm so interested in it, and you may be too. Now, its history has been studied and shared for decades. So on November 10th, 1975, the Edmund Fitzgerald sank in a storm on Lake Superior. All 29 crew members on the Great Lakes freighter died. To commemorate 5 decades since this tragedy, Fox 6 produced an all-new documentary that dives deep into the history and legacy of this Midwest legend, Gales of November, the final voyage of the Edmund Fitzgerald. It premieres Friday at 7 o'clock on Fox 6, Fox Local, and the Fox 6 YouTube page. So you'll be able to check this out. I know I am going to be tuned in for this as well. It's like a mini Titanic for our area in a way.
It's been called the Titanic of the Great Lakes because
Really?
it's such a well-known sinking. Obviously, not nearly as many people affected, but it's also not that long ago, right? There are many people alive today, the family members of those who perished that are still with us today. So it's kind of an interesting retrospective. 1975 seems like forever ago, but also only 50 years. So.
Yeah, only 50 years. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be tuned in, and you guys should too. And stay tuned with us because we have more coming after this break.
All right, welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts. Some fun stories for you here now.
Yes, I mean, it's like, I like to just go ahead and say it's the holiday season. Once
Sure.
you hit Halloween,
You're not
after
alone.
that, then it starts to really feel like it, not just outdoors, but even throughout the city. But as of this morning, the city of Milwaukee officially has its 2025 Christmas tree. The 38-foot tall Colorado blue spruce is now on its way to its home for the season, right outside of Pfizer Forum. The Tabbitt family donated the tree from their home in the Morgandale neighborhood. The couple says they're so happy they're able to give back to the community and let their tree represent the city in this way.
You know, everybody at work was like, oh, so do you feel famous? Like, what's going on? This is so exciting. And I'm like, it feels awesome. It feels great. So, again, we thank you all for being here and being a big part of this event. So, thank you all very much. It just feels awesome.
Yeah, so the city of Milwaukee's Christmas tree is in the Cheer District, and it will be on display beginning with the public tree lighting ceremony on November 21st. This year marks the 112th anniversary of Milwaukee's annual Christmas tree lighting. That makes it the longest running official city tree in the United States.
Wow.
Second only to the one and only New York City's.
There you go. See, we're hanging with the cool cats for sure. And we always have the best tree, and it always looks beautiful. They do a great job with it every single year. But you know what? If you're still not in the holiday mood and you want to get more in that winter state of mind, why don't you go to the beach? Huh? Yeah, you don't always think about ice skating and the beach in the same breath. But guess what? It's back in Santa Monica. Yeah, starting this Friday, November 7th. The ice at Santa Monica Rink returns for its 17th season. It is open daily, January through January 19th. Families can enjoy skating, themed events, even a Taylor Swift birthday celebration. There you go. The grand opening features free skating, a live DJ, a snowy surprise, and admission is just $22. Of course, you got to get to Santa Monica from here. All right, our last story is my favorite story. You know, swimming bear in your backyard is crazy enough, but a bear swimming in your backyard is an entirely different thing. But that's exactly what was caught on camera. Oh, look at him. He looks so happy. Just let him swim. Yeah, well, he was swimming in the backyard swimming pool right there, caught on video out in California, Altadena, right there, right near the foothills. And apparently they just left him alone, and he eventually got up and got out of there. But be careful what you have in your backyard pool. You come back tomorrow, we'll have even more fun and give you some more updates on all the world of weather around us.